Passenger after passenger sharing their stories with Fox 17 News after we first brought you this video.
It was like we were living a scary movie. You're dropped in the middle of the desert.
The growing list of people who say Greyhound drivers left them behind.
Plus, violent gangs moving into the volunteer state.
What measures are being implemented to protect communities across Tennessee?
Fox 17 News presses Governor Bill Lee about what's being done to keep you safe.
Discrimination against pregnant women in Tennessee. How often it happens and the actions you can take against your employer. Fox 17 News at 9 starts now.
Middle Tennessee's only primetime news. This is Fox 17 News at 9, your Code Red station.
Fox 17 News starting tonight with breaking news as Representative Matt Gaetz officially resigns from Congress to President-elect Trump's to be his new Attorney General. This will end the congressional ethics investigation surrounding sexual misconduct allegations against the Florida congressman. Mr. Trump says Gaetz will end weaponized government and passed over more traditional candidates for the role. The Senate will need to officially confirm the pick.
He left us. He left my roommate and I in the middle of nowhere in Arizona.
Continuing coverage tonight as Fox 17 News is receiving calls from across the country after we broke a story about a Greyhound bus driver in Tennessee abandoning passengers. Passengers in this case, including a baby, were left at a gas station in Jackson. Fox 17 News' Caitlin Miller has been on this story all week and continues to uncover new concerns.
Yes, Scott. Well, the power of social media, we're now hearing horror stories from coast to coast, starting with the story that we broke to you from passengers traveling from Nashville to Memphis that were abandoned in a gas station. Now, new tonight, we're hearing from a woman that's traveling from Hinesville, Georgia to Manhattan, Kansas, and she was left in an open field. And another story of a woman traveling from Los Angeles all the way to Oklahoma City with her roommate, and they were both left in the middle of a desert in Arizona.
Fox 17 News first reported a Greyhound driver leaving passengers at a gas station in Jackson, driving off as a woman knocks on the door. This video is why Amanda Harding wanted to share her story about recently taking a Greyhound bus from Hinesville, Georgia to Manhattan, Kansas. Harding says they were supposed to stop in Lawrence, Kansas to switch buses, but explains the bus driver dropped her and another guy off in a field.
He said, "You guys are going to get off here." I said, "This is not right. There's nothing here. It's just an open field."
Harding says the stop turned out to be 20 minutes from the actual bus stop.
Got our luggage off and told us, "Have a good day," and drove off.
Harding and the other passenger flagged down a driver and paid a woman to drive them to the actual bus station. Harding asked Greyhound for help.
And they told me that they could not give me a refund for my ticket because services were rendered.
Because the email says the trip was completed. We heard from another Greyhound passenger, Laura Bush in Los Angeles, who was taking the bus with her roommate to Oklahoma City.
He made everyone get off the bus because he said he had to clean it.
Bush says they took a random bathroom break in a small town in Arizona. She and her roommate grabbed a sandwich and went to the restroom and came out and the bus was gone. Bush says seeing the video that Fox 17 News first shared online from what happened in Jackson fired her up.
I relived the trauma. It was like we were living a scary movie. You're dropped in the middle of the desert in the heat, 2-lane highway, no cars.
And again, no refund from Greyhound.
I reached out to Greyhound on Monday, Tuesday, and again tonight. I also reached out to the Federal Motor Carrier Safety Administration that oversees issues with Greyhound to see if they can help step in to help with these issues. Now, we want to know if drivers are being held accountable for these actions and why these passengers are not getting reimbursed. I will continue to stay on top of this so passengers can get the answers that they deserve. Reporting live from in studio, I'm Caitlin Miller, Fox 17 News, your Code Red station.
Caitlin, thank you. And toward that end, if you have had an issue with a Greyhound bus on a trip like the ones we've described, we'd like to hear about it. Just scan the QR code there on the left-hand side of your screen to get in touch with us. Or you can go to our website, fox17.com. Again, tell us your story. Just scan that QR code there on the screen, and it will take you directly to a contact page where you can share your information.
$1.63 billion, an increase
New tonight, Tennessee prisons run by Core Civic asking for an additional $6.8 million from the state next year. This comes as the Department of Justice is investigating the Truesdale-Turner Correctional Center for civil rights violations. Fox 17 News' Karen Aguilar in studio after we asked Governor Bill Lee about the potential increase. Karen?
Governor Bill Lee didn't directly answer Fox 17 News when we asked about the possibility of increasing Core Civic's budget. Core Civic is a for-profit company that runs or operates 14 prisons in Tennessee. This includes Trousdale-Turner Correctional Center. The facility is currently under investigation after at least 196 assaults, 2 murders, and 15 deaths. The facility classified as accidental between July 2022 and June 2023. There is also a lawsuit Fox 17 News previously reported on surrounding inhumane conditions. This lawsuit filed by a man's family after they say he died from fentanyl. Frank Strata, the commissioner of TDOC, is still asking for more money. He says it's partly because they are understaffed.
Currently, we got about 651 correctional officer vacancies, which represents about 26.4% of our vacancies. So we've been actively recruiting.
I think the contract procurement process is one that's well laid out by the state, and whether there would be other vendors, I don't know the answer to that, if they've made application for this, but that funding request is like any funding request.
During Tuesday's budget meeting, members of the governor's administration didn't question Strata about the ongoing DOJ investigation at Trousdale-Turner. We will be following up with the Department of Justice to see just where they are in their investigation and dig deeper into these numbers. Reporting in studio, Karen Aguilar, Fox 17 News, your Code Red station.
Karen, thank you. Tonight, the Mid-State's law enforcement community is mourning the passing of a longtime Metro Police detective. Retired Police Sergeant Robert Moore passed away yesterday after battling health problems. The 81-year-old spent much of his career managing an elite group of detectives in the police department's murder squad. Moore's visitation is Saturday from 2 until 6 p.m. and then Sunday from noon until 2 with a celebration of life to follow at Phillips Robinson Funeral Home in Nashville.
Some pretty consistent rain out there today.
Yep, we continue to see it. In fact, some moderate to heavy pockets moving through some of our counties to the west of us right now, and along with that, some gusty winds. So active day all around compared to where we've been the past several. So the pockets of heavy rain will continue tonight, will lead to localized flooding. Not expecting widespread issues, but a few areas here and there may experience some low-lying issues. All the while looking at some breezy winds as well. But here's a look at the radar. We've got some light showers moving into the metro area. More heavy, steady rain out towards Clarksville and Dickson. That will be passing to the north and to the east here, and may even get a few of those pockets in the Nashville area. Wider scan shows decent rainfall moving through. This is good to see. We definitely need it. And the front lagging behind. So the front will push through by tomorrow morning. Our shower chances will taper off from there. So here's midnight, expecting widespread showers in the next couple of hours. And then that trend tapers off as we head towards the morning hours. But the cloud cover will likely hang around for much of the day tomorrow. Winds are a bit on the breezy side right now as well. Ahead of this front, gusting up to 30 miles per hour in some spots. And that's indicated here by this little orange spot, yellow spot in our southern counties. So windy conditions will continue as well as the rainy conditions. The good news is severe weather is not a concern for the overnight. Have seen a few strikes of lightning, so rumbles of thunder also possible as this moves in. Through the morning hours, I mentioned that the cloud cover hangs tough. We'll walk you through future track for Thursday and what's looking like some big changes in our weather pattern coming in the next several days. We'll talk about it coming up.
Thank you, Katie. Also had expectant mothers in Tennessee being discriminated against at work. How a new law on the federal level will help them push back.
And a former Tennessee deputy charged with animal cruelty against more than half a dozen dogs. What investigators say he did and the questions that still remain. More than 60% of working women worry about facing negative stereotypes related to their pregnancy, like the notion that a pregnant woman's proper place is at home. That's according to a study by a national advocacy nonprofit, Better Balance. The Equal Employment Opportunity Commission says pregnancy discrimination is also happening in Middle Tennessee.
That's right. Fox 17 News' Amanda Chen sharing some specific examples locally and explains a new federal law that is designed to protect women from this very kind of discrimination.
1 in 5 mothers say they have experienced pregnancy discrimination in the workplace, including firing or not providing proper accommodations to working women. That's according to a survey by the Bipartisan Policy Center. So are things getting better? We spoke with one woman who says she's experienced discrimination firsthand.
Nicole Behrens started her job at Priority Wrecker Service in Nashville when she was 3 months pregnant in 2023.
And a lot of moms don't understand how stressful it really is until it actually happens to them. Sorry. So it's like, sorry, I'm so emotional. It kills me.
Behrens worked as a dispatcher, managing phone calls and providing customers with towing quotes.
So I'm very big on communication. Every time I had a doctor's appointment, I went in and told them, hey, look, this is what the doctor said.
She told her boss about her scheduled C-section in August, and on page 3 of the lawsuit she filed against the company, Behrens' doctor informed her that her pregnancy was considered high risk. Behrens says her boss talked about her return to work after 6 weeks. However, she ended up going into labor earlier than expected in July. Behrens says she maintained communication with her boss the entire time, even updating them on her baby girl's 3-month stay in the NICU. During her daughter's hospital stay, she told her boss she could come back to work.
He actually called me and was like, hey, when you come pick up your check Friday, make sure you drop off your key. We already did your replacement.
In court filings, Priority Wrecker Services denies the allegations of discrimination. While the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission dismissed Behrens' claim, the department issued her a right to sue letter. I emailed Priority Wrecker Services twice.
I was wondering if you were going to be available for
and
an
called
interview,
twice.
or if you had
And
a
when they
statement
answered,
you
I
could
was
share.
referred to the company's attorney, Rocky King.
Hi, Rocky. This is Amanda Chen.
I have called and emailed King requesting an interview and statement. He has not responded. The case is still in the early phases, as it is not scheduled for trial until December of 2025. Behrens says it's been very difficult for her, both financially and mentally, where she's relied on nonprofits to help her pay rent until she could find another job.
Shocked, more of upset, like why would you be so nice of doing this and then turn around and do this? Being there, they were so communicative and so understanding with everything, and then once it happened, it was like a whole shock.
Behrens' case is one of many pregnancy discrimination suits involving many employers in the state of Tennessee. We've spoken with a number of attorneys representing plaintiffs who allege pregnancy discrimination. Unfortunately, when we spoke with those lawyers, many women were afraid to speak up and declined to be interviewed. According to a survey by the Bipartisan Policy Center, nearly 1 in 4 mothers have considered leaving their jobs due to a lack of reasonable accommodations or fear of discrimination during a pregnancy. However, a new 2023 federal law, known as the Pregnant Workers Fairness Act, requires employers across the country to offer accommodations to their employees when needed to pregnancy or related health condition. Jessica Lee is the co-director of the California-based Center for Work-Life Law, a legal advocacy nonprofit that works with pregnant and caregiving workers. She also notes that pregnancy discrimination cases have been on the rise for years.
It could be anything as simple as a chair to sit on, permission to carry water, to more complex changes like the permission to work from home.
Although Tennessee already had the statewide Pregnant Workers Fairness Act in place, Lee explains that the new federal law provides much clearer guidance on what employers are required to do and how they should do it.
I think a pretty unacceptable portion of employers know that there are some rules there and just aren't treating these workers with the respect that they deserve. There's still a mindset amongst a lot of employers that pregnant workers belong at home, or that if they are making changes in the workplace for their pregnant employees, that they're doing them some sort of favor rather than complying with the law.
Lee believes that more women are speaking out because they've had enough and are increasingly aware of their rights. Barron's message to mothers:
and a lot of moms need to know that they can actually do something about it and get the help that they need for it. So, sorry.
The Center for Work-Life Law has other goals to protect mothers as well. The organization is hoping to get paid leave for new mothers, as Lee says they see a lot of women struggle with their health after childbirth or in the final weeks of their pregnancy because they can't afford to take time off. Reporting in the studio, I'm Amanda Chin, Fox 17 News, your Code Red station.
Rainy night across a lot of Middle Tennessee here. In fact, we can see a few raindrops from our Nissan Stadium camera. So we take a quick look here at the radar, and I'm going to zoom in manually. You can see a lot more steady heavy rain moving into the Clarksville area up towards Charlotte in Dickson County. Some decent pockets of rain here through much of Montgomery County. The good news is I don't see a lot of lightning associated with these showers, so just a good old-fashioned rain. Closer into Nashville, you can see too that we've got some of those light showers going on downtown, which is what we were just seeing from our sky camera here at Nissan Stadium. So we will continue to be quite rainy as we head through the evening hours tonight. And we take a look at additional rainfall that we could see anywhere between ½ inch to 1 inch, maybe a little bit more than that in certain spots. If you're wondering, out towards the plateau, upper Cumberland region, we haven't had a ton of rainfall today. It does look like we're going to have more of it coming your way as we head into the overnight hours. So this will be where some of our higher additional rainfall totals are as we head through the overnight. 51 in Nashville for the overnight, Murfreesboro around 52 and 50 in Cookeville. So we'll call it chilly for the evening. Thursday, we are looking at mostly cloudy skies for much of the day. I do think the clouds will hang tough, especially in the morning, but we'll slowly begin to clear out as we head into the afternoon. Temperatures topping off near 60 as we head towards the afternoon hours. So looking a little more seasonal for us. So future track does show most of this rain working its way across the area as we head through the overnight. Here's midnight. I mentioned that for folks in Cookeville, Crossville, McMinnville, you still have a chance at some rain as we head into the overnight hours. This should come after midnight tonight. As we head into the morning, you can see that cloud cover's hanging around, maybe even a few light showers, but the majority of accumulating rainfall should be coming to an end as we get into the morning. And we get into the afternoon, mainly cloudy skies. We'll look for a few pockets of rain, light showers possible, but generally looking at a decreasing cloud cover as we head into the late afternoon, early evening hours, which will set the stage for a fairly nice looking weekend. We are still in search of our first fall freeze here in Nashville. We have hit our first freeze in Crossville, 29. Clarksville at 34. So also searching for the first fall freeze in Clarksville. It's a little late in the season for us, but I do see the potential for some big change headed our way when we could be looking at a big cool down coming up. A former Tennessee deputy accused of killing 7 dogs. The questions that remain tonight.
And violent gangs from another country setting up shop here in Tennessee. Fox 17 News presses state leaders about what they're doing about it. In Operation Crime and Justice, a now former Tennessee deputy is facing animal cruelty charges after investigators say he shot and killed 7 dogs on duty. The TBI says the McNairy County deputy Connor Bracken went to a home to do a welfare check on the dogs. And instead of checking on them, he opened fire. Agents say at this point they're still not sure why he did it.
Continuing coverage, the quote we heard, "We will not have answers today." That's the message from Metro Nashville schools after a serious bus crash this morning off Briley Parkway.
Rubbernecking down Briley Parkway at Centennial Boulevard, drivers gasped as they passed this wreck during rush hour traffic. Yellow school bus debris scattered along the busy highway. The front of the bus, nothing but mangled metal. Inside, a bus driver and 3 students. The students are okay, but the driver was taken to the hospital with injuries after slamming into a wall. MNPS is working with local authorities to investigate what happened.
Just ahead, a violent gang from Venezuela sets up shop here in the mid-state. We'll tell you what's being done to address the problem.
Political rivals putting their differences aside for a historic meeting. I'm Atra Al-Nashar with a look inside the Oval Office when President Biden and President-elect Trump met face-to-face.
Here, and they're in numbers here.
In Operation Crime and Justice, the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation sounding the alarm about a Venezuelan gang they say is operating in major cities across Tennessee. Fox 17 News' Kylie Walker pressing state leaders about what they're doing about the growing problem.
The TBI director warns the Venezuelan gang is here in force and they're on a path to increase the violence. That's why they're now asking the governor for funding to address it. The TBI says not only is the dangerous gang growing nationwide, but it's impacting every major city across Tennessee.
They have a pathway to more violence.
The TBI director, David Roush, warning Governor Bill Lee in a budget hearing Tuesday about the rising threat of a violent criminal group, Tren de Aragua.
They're back in all of our major cities. They are running human trafficking operations.
Roush says the Venezuelan gang does not hesitate to attack their opponents in public.
Recently, there was a video that they shot where they shot an individual, a cartel member, 31 times, broad daylight, on video and posted it to social media.
Roush says they'll next engage in more retail theft before taking on the drug trade. These concerns we took to Governor Bill Lee. What measures are being implemented to protect communities across Tennessee?
Well, first of all, I think that part of the reason President Trump was elected last week is because people in this country are tired of gang members from Venezuela, for example, coming across our border. And that policy change that will occur in the next few months.
So at the federal level, we know there could be changes. At the state level, are we doing anything in the meantime to tackle these issues?
Well, I think that's what that funding request hearing was about. They made requests for resources and personnel to attack particular crime issues in our state, and we'll review those budgets.
Congressman Andy Ogle says this is an issue he's been looking at very closely.
Every small town in America is a border town because of the immigration crisis.
Congressman Ogle says he's also been in contact with President-elect Donald Trump on the issue.
We will begin deporting individuals who are here. Of course, you've got to prioritize, but those who are here with violent intent.
Roush says that the same gang was first identified here in Tennessee years ago in connection to a human trafficking bust, but many of the members fled after the operation, and since then, there hasn't really been any sight of them up until recently. For now, reporting in Nashville, Kylie Walker, Fox 17 News, your Code Red Station.
In political news, after a tense campaign, President-elect Donald Trump sitting down with President Biden today in the Oval Office. Fox 17 News' Atra El-Nashar shows us how the two leaders are preparing for a peaceful transition of power.
Mr. President-elect and former President Donald, congratulations.
President Biden and President-elect Trump moving past the heated rhetoric of the campaign for a meeting Wednesday.
Crooked Joe Biden has done a terrible job. You've destroyed our country.
Just 3 weeks ago, the White House press secretary said this when asked about news that Trump's former chief of staff said he meets the definition of a fascist.
Do we agree about that determination? Yes, we do. We do.
The nation saw Biden and Trump sit side by side in the Oval Office, not as political rivals, but as a current president welcoming his successor.
Looking forward to having like we said, smooth transition. Do everything we can to make sure you're accommodated, what you need.
Biden keeping with tradition by hosting the incoming president at the White House, which Trump did not follow when he refused to concede the 2020 election.
Politics is tough, and it's in many cases not a very nice world, but it is a nice world today, and I appreciate it very much. A transition that's so smooth, it'll be as smooth as it can get, and I very much appreciate that, Joe.
You're welcome.
Earlier in the day, Trump gathered with House Republicans.
We worked with a lot of you to get you in. And you helped me, and you helped me too.
Trump endorsing House Speaker Mike Johnson to remain in his leadership role, as House Republicans are expected to have a razor-thin majority similar to what they have now. Democrats, meanwhile, strategizing for how they'll navigate being the minority party in both the House and Senate.
Recalibrating and re-energizing our party in the coming weeks is the most important thing we can do as elected leaders.
Senate Republicans just chose a new leader in South Dakota's John Thune, who will become the Senate Majority Leader in early January. And on Wednesday, Thune said a top priority is getting Trump's cabinet nominees confirmed as quickly as possible. On Capitol Hill, I'm Atrell Nashar.
Rain continues to fall across much of Middle Tennessee. A nice swath of showers, in fact, pushing through our western counties and working its way across the area. In addition to that, a few areas of gusty winds, anywhere between 30 to 35 miles per hour. Some of those higher wind gusts coming in our southern counties closer to Alabama this evening. But nonetheless, no severe weather expected as we head through the overnight. But we are looking at a good soaking rainfall that is out there. All right, let's switch gears here. We are talking about an upper level pattern change, and this is into next week. So notice your timestamp takes us to the middle of next week, a week from today. This is a big trough that is possible that'll settle in across much of the area here. And as we get into Wednesday, more so Thursday and Friday, it deepens. And in some cases, some models hint at it cutting off. This basically means a big change in our temperatures with the potential for cooler weather headed our way. It could mean our first freeze. There's still a lot of uncertainty as far as timing and just how cold we will get, but I'm letting you know now at least that the potential is there for colder weather. The potential too for fall flurries with these systems. It happens from time to time. We'll talk more about that potential coming up in your Fox 17 Code Red forecast.
Katie, thank you. Right now, some breaking political news from the nation's capital, where Republicans have just secured their 218th seat in the House of Representatives. That means that Republicans now have control of the House as well as the U.S. Senate and, of course, soon to be the White House as well. They last control all three parts of the government, the president-elect Donald Trump's first term. So big news for the GOP.
Is the rest of the season enough time to decide if Will Levis is the Titans' quarterback of the future? What head coach Brian Callahan had to say.
And to protect and serve, where you will notice more police officers in Nashville. In sports, Titans quarterback Will Levis coming off one of his better games of the season. Now, he didn't beat the Chargers, of course, but he threw a couple of touchdown passes and didn't turn the ball over.
Fox 17 Sports Director Jill Jelnick with how Levis hopes to build on that performance Sunday against the Vikings and his future with the franchise.
The Tennessee Titans' first priority is getting ready for the Minnesota Vikings on Sunday. However, now that quarterback Will Levis is back healthy, the question still remains, is Levis the Titans' quarterback of the future? Head coach Brian Callahan was asked that question during his weekly press conference. He said he'd rather not put a timeline on when the team hopes to figure that out, but he knows that the most important thing right now for Levis is just improving week after week. As for the second-year quarterback, he says he has no other choice but to go into every week believing he is the guy moving forward. He says that's the approach he has during his game planning during the week, and his only priority right now is making sure he is prepared and done everything that he can to combat the Vikings defense.
I know I'm the guy. I come in here and work and try to earn that job every single day. I know that it can be taken away from you at any point, so try to make sure I keep that in mind and at the same time just have the confidence knowing that regardless of what happens, like I'm this team's quarterback and I got to come to work and be ready to go.
This year being about finding out about whether Will can be the guy moving forward, do you think 8 more games is enough time for you to know?
Hard to put a timeline on that. I think it's for me, I'm looking for things every game, every practice. Those are all part of it. But yeah, I think he improves the play that he had last week. I think we're all going to feel really good about how he's played the position through 2 games back, and we're just going to try to keep stacking those games.
The Titans did add some depth to the offensive line this week and claimed former Rams lineman Logan Bruss off of waivers. Pass protection has been an issue for the Titans the last several weeks, especially after quarterback Will Levis was sacked a total of 7 times in their loss to the Chargers this past Sunday. And especially considering the Vikings like to bring the pressure up front, it will be a major storyline for Sunday's game. Reporting from the Titans practice facility, Jill Jelnick, Fox 17 Sports, your Code Red station.
Coming up, we'll talk more about the potential for a few flurries maybe into next week. I couldn't let that go. And we'll have more on the tropics. We're not done yet.
Added patrols where you can expect to see more police in Nashville.
Donald Trump taps Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy to lead the Department of Government Efficiency. I'm Matt Gelka in Washington with more details on the newly minted department coming up.
In Operation Crime and Justice, police presence in the Antioch area of South Nashville is about to increase. Fox 17 News' Madeline Nolan shows us the new Antioch precinct under construction.
Metro Police are adding at this new shift come 2025 in an effort to reduce their response times. On top of that, this new precinct that you can see is well under construction is also expected to reduce response times, and they're opening by mid-2025. The South Precinct itself has had over 18,000 911 calls in the 37013 zip code just this year. This month alone, a little more than 300 of those calls were for emergencies with an average response time of 16 minutes. And 1,000 of the calls this month were urgent with a 91-minute response time, making it the slowest response time in the immediate metro area. To compare, urgent calls in downtown or the 37201 zip code have a response time of 27 minutes, making it one of the fastest in the area. Now, the metro shift beginning in February is going to focus on the farthest south area of Antioch, where Extra Patrol countywide will respond to those high volume call areas. Now, they will have 20 to 25 police officers on this shift from noon to 8:30 p.m. Metro Police also stated that this is just a first step in solving this problem. In Nashville, I'm Madeline Nolan, Fox 17 News, your Code Red station.
Covering the Capitol tonight, taking a look at President-elect Donald Trump's newly formed Department of Government Efficiency. Fox 17 News' Matt Galka has more on plans for this department to focus on cutting government waste.
Donald Trump says tech billionaire Elon Musk and former Republican presidential candidate Vivek Ramaswamy will streamline government. Trump named both men to lead the newly minted Department of Government Efficiency. They've both been making promises on the campaign trail.
The second mass deportation we really need is millions of unelected federal bureaucrats out of the D.C. bureaucracy. That is how you save a country.
Your money is being wasted, and the Department of Government Efficiency is going to fix that. We're going to get the government off your back and out of your pocketbook.
The acronym DOGE, or Doge, is a nod to a dog-themed cryptocurrency. Streamlining government has been attempted before, but it's unclear if the pair's recommendations will have any teeth.
It is true that there is a history of government having big commissions, and commission reports end up just collecting dust on shelves and not enacted. So that is always a risk, but we've got to keep trying to reform this massive government, which spends over $6 trillion a year.
It's more than likely Congress will have to play a role. Republicans are always eager to cut costs, while Democrats are skeptical a full teardown can keep the country running efficiently.
I don't think there's any question we have a debt crisis in this country. We're $35 trillion in debt. We cannot sustain that. It does not mean it's all going to go into effect. It's recommendations. Congress ultimately has the power of the purse. Congress will make the final decisions.
Can we do things to make sure that we're being more responsive? Absolutely. But this idea that we're going to come in, blow it up, and then think we're going to keep serving the people is very unrealistic.
Ramaswamy and Musk will have until July 4th, 2026 to make their recommendations. And from there, it'll be up to those on Capitol Hill to decide what to do with the advice. Reporting in Washington, I'm Matt Galka.
All right, let's go back to the colder air that is possible as we head into the late part of next week. I feel like I didn't give enough time to explain myself on the big S word that I mentioned. I know that always gets a lot of attention, and that really is kind of the secondary story. What I do think is more likely at this point is the colder air, the first fall freeze of the season. It's not set in stone. We're still 9 days out from when it is looking like we may see this big swing in the weather pattern here. But just throwing it out there right now, I have already had a few questions about this on social media, so I wanted to jump in front of it and at least let you know that while it is possible, we're not looking at measurable snow at this point. These types of systems that we see here that bring us these colder weather conditions can often also bring us cloudy and breezy days that can often last more than a day, especially if it hangs up. And then sometimes they can bring us fall flurries across the area, so you wouldn't be surprised if you see a couple snowflakes falling with no impact. That's a very low confidence right now, and keep in mind that the timing, the chance of precipitation, and the depth of cold, just how cold we'll get, it's all subject to change. But this is something that's on my radar, at least as we head towards the end of next week. Something else on the radar, and in this case, satellite. This is potential tropical cyclone 19. So this will likely become Hurricane Sarah by tomorrow. Max winds at 30 miles per hour. This one's going to be interesting because it is likely going to just kind of hang out here in the Caribbean off the Yucatan Peninsula and eventually make a landfall. What is interesting here is this is the National Hurricane Center forecast, making landfall as a tropical storm. What's more important about this system is the amount of rainfall that is expected to fall in these locations here and into Central America, really. We are looking at some pretty intense rainfall. After we get through early next week, so this takes us up to Monday here, this system, models are hinting at it then recurving back into the Gulf of Mexico, gaining steam and gaining strength where it could end up impacting the U.S. and more importantly, Florida. This would be the third hurricane of the year that they are looking at here. And again, the models here are showing that the potential is at least there for recurvature where we could find a potential impact. This would be next Wednesday, so a week from today, of Hurricane Sarah. So that would be the next named storm on the list. It does look like it will become at least a tropical storm. And potentially a hurricane as we head into early next week as it makes its way back into the Gulf. So something else we will be watching very closely with impact possible in the U.S. We take a look here. Things remain pretty comfortable as far as temperatures go. No big swing until we get into the late part of next week, with temperatures likely dropping.
Straight ahead, professional baseball in the borough, a sneak peek at what could be a historic change in Middle Tennessee sports.
And Amazon making changes to one of its free streaming services. What you can expect.
Looking ahead tonight, we're getting our first look at renderings of a baseball field that has been proposed for a pro team in Murfreesboro. Take a look. This is what the field could look like if it's built in Murfreesboro's Cannonsburg Village. The group Home Run History, which launched a petition for that new team, says the field and team would help to preserve history and revitalize downtown. Cannonsburg Village emerged in its current form as a bicentennial project back in the 1970s. The stadium proposal would incorporate the village right next to the field.
Thursday on Fox 17 News at 9, the full rollout of license plate readers remaining on hold in Nashville. This is as other cities are celebrating their success when it comes to helping fight crime. Now some neighborhoods in Nashville are using their own money to install the technology, including the mayor's own neighborhood.
We've had a lot of break-ins in the cars. We had so many incidents where, I mean, some days we come up with, we get 15 to 20 different where the windows are snapped. I know they're just looking for whatever they can grab, but still, you know, it's a lot of damage for the people who own those cars.
The push to get LPRs on the streets and the concerns over privacy, Thursday on Fox 17 News at 9.
Still to come tonight, a big change coming to Freevee, what Amazon is planning to do with its free streaming service.
In consumer news, Amazon has decided to end its free streaming service called Freevee.
Company says that content from the ad-supported Freevee streaming service is already available on its Prime Video channel. Now, Amazon says they want to simplify customers' viewing experience since Prime Video now has an ad-supported tier. The company says Prime members will not experience any changes.
Freevee is set to close in the next few weeks.
Has the U.S. government been covering up unexplained UFOs? I'm Jeff Harris in Washington. Coming up, experts faced lawmakers earlier this afternoon, sharing what they've uncovered.
Those common cold and flu medications you take to feel better? I'm Liz Bonus. New study by the FDA says they don't really work. We're going to tell you what's recommended instead. That is just ahead.